Okay, US dollar index. This is certainly my favourite. I don't know if it's yours. Let's start off with the weekly. Beginning of the week, let's see where we're going. I've drawn this long-term trend, which is, I still think it's absolutely brilliant because as much as everyone says that QE is bad for the dollar, you can see here this starts on 10th of March 2008, so just after the GFC. When QE first started, we just had this consistent rise up in the dollar. But you know, apparently it's bearish for the dollar somehow. I don't know. So we can see this long-term trend. We didn't quite touch it here. We actually broke underneath it here. There's a bit of resistance here, and it comes back to where we put a bottom in here. It looks possible that this is going to be your trend line. You can move it to a few different places. You could move it to here. I move it to this second bottom as well. Oops, and argue that it's this as well. Potentially. It from the bottom there, actually touched here. And this kind of actually does look like it's a break under a retest and a move down. So I don't know. It's one to think about. We can't really see where it's going. However, if we ever get rid of that and just have a bit more of a zoom in. If you ever zoom in, you can see here things are. In fact, let's get rid of these lines, but it's a bit messy. You can't really see an awful lot. Things are starting to look very, very strong for the dollar, which is a first. So although the moving averages are coming down, we're starting to go back up, and it's pretty reasonable to say that we could have a big week. We could see a strike of this 50-week moving average, maybe not necessarily this week, but next week is possible. We'll have to see how it goes. Once the dollar gets going, it does seriously get going though. And it wouldn't be the first time we've had this kind of range. We did it here, we came back up and moved across. So, you know, potentially we could be seeing a similar sort of thing. We head off over in this direction. Zoom in a bit more. You can see this is starting to look pretty strong. But it's not giving away too much on the weekly. I think your main trade's going to be through probably. So actually, let's skip the daily and jump straight to the 4 hour. Right, so where are we at? It's a bit better. Right, let's have a look at this. So we ended a strong week. We had this pretty big move up. And it's been strong, you know, a strong move, reasonable pullback, strong move, reasonable pullback. And now we're riding these moving averages up now on the dollar. We came back down, put in a bit of a rally and closed the week, but that was also sort of Friday night, going into a long weekend. So it's pretty reasonable to say where we've not going. When you start zooming across though, you know, even though it's Monday morning, we're still actually riding this 4 hour moving average up. This is looking pretty strong. It's kind of looking almost like a kind of a breakout pattern, like a flag or something. You've got something similar to this here. You see. So potentially we could end up just breaking out here and seeing the dollar move even higher, which would be brilliant if it does. The question then is going to be, where would we go to? Well, you've obviously got resistance up here at, what's that, 92.5. But we've clearly got this sort of zone, so we're going to be looking, ideally, what I would like to see, particularly for a strong dollar case, would be a move straight up here through that, and probably some to the top of this range, around here. If we can get up to 93.5 in a pretty strong move and come back and test this 92.5, then you know that's really strong for the dollar bulls, and we can think about consolidating in there for a few, you know, even a week or two before moving higher. So yeah, I'd say that this is starting to look pretty good. Long term, we broke over this trend. In fact, we technically broke over this trend back here, and we followed it. But it depends where you want to move your trend line, really. I mean, that's the brilliant thing about trend lines, is you don't necessarily know. There's often different patterns, isn't there? I mean, Yeah, it held here as well, so you can see it was a test there, and there was a bit of it kind of broke through and dragged down and then went out, or I mean, one I had was here, where we've kind of had this move down, broke above it, retested it as support, and then broke off. Either way, we can start to see things are looking a bit stronger. In fact, let's actually go back onto the daily, because we can have a look at these daily moving averages. Right, so we've still not got, at least on trading view, we've still not got this crossover, the 50 and the 100, but it's coming pretty soon, and you can see this strong move, strong break and a move up. We've come back up, tested the 50 day for a period of time, straight up, we just blew past the 100, kind of didn't quite get to the 200, but come back, tested the 100, and at the moment we're about to go back up and test it. I mean, this is really, really bullish at the moment. You can't argue that this is a fake out ready to go lower at the moment. I mean, could I be wrong? Yeah, I could be, but it really does not look bearish at all. I mean, that is a clear. If I put in some horizontal lines, you can see here that is a clear. Come back down into this kind of zone. Retest, boom, straight up, and the 100-day moving average. Everything is now starting to swing upwards. So the trend is definitely starting to change here for the US dollar. I know the birds won't like it and they think the dollar's going to go to zero, but like I said, I can go back onto this weekly. And to be honest with you, you can shove your bearish case up your arse, because for the past 13 years that we've had QE, it's just been up, 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 up. You know, and so to think that it's not going to keep going up now is just absolutely ridiculous in my mind. It's not to say that we're not going to get the dollar to go into zero, but I mean, we're a long way. There's a lot of things that need to change before the dollar goes to zero. You know, a lot of other currencies are going to die first, whether you like America or not. You know, I'm English, living in Australia. I'm not pro-America by any means, but I accept the fact that it's a global reserve currency. And that in times of need, in times of desperation, people are going to pile into dollars. You know, everything's priced in dollars. You know, commodities. You know, all these derivative contracts are in dollars. The euro dollar system, the petrodollar system, everything is all about the dollar. You know, was it Lebanon started getting hyperinflation now? Where they're going to shove their currency? Well, you know, okay, yeah, sure. Arguably, they could go to Bitcoin or gold if that's what you think, but I can't see a load of old men and old people living in the Middle East going and buying Bitcoin. Gold, yeah, I can see them buying that, but what's the easy currency to swap to? US dollar. You can buy stuff in US dollars everywhere. That's what Venezuela did when they started getting hyperinflation. They piled the money into the dollar to keep its value. You know, so as we start seeing all these other economies fall and their currencies goes down, that's going to just push the dollar up. Now the DXY is a basket of currencies and perhaps doesn't have any of these minor currencies in it. However, it's still going to have this strength for the dollar, and what we're still going to see is that the Federal Reserve are going to lag behind the ECB and the BOJ. You know, the BOJ have been doing stupid QE, QQE, all sorts of stuff for a long time. If anyone's going to come out with a ridiculous monetary policy, it's likely to be the Japanese. You know, and then the next one's going to be Christine Lagarde at the ECB. Because let's be honest with you, the common sense thing is that if you are going to start playing ridiculous money games and money experiments, trying to see what's going to happen, you don't do it with the global reserve currency, you do it with another currency. Because at least if it fails, you've still got the global reserve. If it works, then you know the dollar follows it at a later date. That's just my logic behind things. So yeah, with the dollar, I think we're probably going to head up here. As to how bullish we get, I don't know. Long term, okay, this is definitely going to be your resistance zone. Up here, we've not been above 103 for a very long time, so this is going to be, like I said, what was this wedge that we've got? It doesn't have to be 100% accurate, but we're looking something like this. If we can get up to here, then that's when the dollar starts moving a lot higher. But I think potentially that could be a lot further down the line. I think we need to get up to here first. I think it's going to be, this is a long-term trade, this over the next couple of years. And I genuinely think if we're going to get inflation, it's a long way off. I think it's 5, even 10 years down the line, not not 18 months, not next month, like everyone seems to think it is. So that's my outlook on the dollar.